Good evening and welcome to Options Tender. It is Tuesday evening, 9/12/23. Welcome everybody. If you're new here, go down to that bottom right hand corner, hit that Options Tender logo and subscribe. Thank you for joining us. Today we don't have a whole lot to go through, but we're going to go through SPY, QQQ, Apple, and NVIDIA. Those are star players for tonight because I think they really matter in this setup going into CPI tomorrow. So we'll check this out. And, price action can go both ways. That's the whole point when you have these big catalysts like this. It gets you ready and off guard, ready to put your money down on the table for a bet. It's a gamble. And, it takes you off your game. And when you look at things down to the nitty gritty, it can go both ways. So I do think there's a bias, and I think that's to the upside. But I think the upside is still limited. And we do have a game plan for if we break down to the downside. Okay, so if you want to help out this channel, please hit the like button. I think that will be the least you could do is just hit the like button. If you want to do anything more, go down in the description and help us out any way you can. There's a couple ways to do that, or just even join that free Discord where we put out our trade ideas and discuss different trades and stuff like that. Okay. Here we go. Let's jump into it. We have SPY on the daily time frame. Again, these consolidation areas we talk about, we have a consolidation here. That provides our resistance and support. I'll put out a link to, if you're new to trading, a video that I have about support and resistance. I'll put that up above and at the end of the channel of the video. Okay. We have resistance here from this consolidation area. We have support here from this consolidation area. It's harder to see here, but it's the same concept going on here. We have hard resistance at this point. Got above, resistance up top, support wants resistance. Again, same thing. So we're looking into this box here. We're checking out the box. We're seeing, hey, we're bullish above. We used it as support, breaking above, and now we're pulling back. We came up to this gap and didn't fill the gap, but are reversing from this point. And, at first glance, it's, hey, we're underneath that 8 EMA and also the 50 simple moving average. So that's tough. That's pretty bearish in itself. We're still holding the 20. Which is sideways, which kind of represents, if you look at the last video I did, and the one before that, it's all about chop. Where you see this triangle, we're in the chop zone. So we're moving back and forth. Nobody has a real edge at this point. Okay. So right now at this first appearance, it looks like we're reversing and we're heading much lower. This is a 8 EMA. I use this for my trend indicator. So we're underneath that. Yes, that's a bearish sign. And then you have the simple moving averages, but a lot of people use the exponential. So let me switch over to all exponential. Now you can see we're actually holding closed on the 20 EMA. We're still above the 50 EMA. So we have support underneath us. We reversed and made a higher low at this point. It needs to be confirmed to make a new high over the 44865 right there. But we're holding on to support with the 20 EMA. They're not going to make this easy for you. They're not going to hand you over money here in the market. Their job is to take it away from you. Okay, so we're sitting on support. We held support. We're making a higher low. It's possible we keep filling out this triangle. Now, this isn't the same triangle that I have on SPX and on ES. I have this from this point down here to this point, okay? And then we go through these other points. And we kind of, it's more of a rising pivot. So came below, regained it, came below, regained it, and then came back to it right here with the 50 EMA support from this consolidation area. And then also this trend line or rising pivot. So we're still holding above it. All things, I'm making a story. I can make a story the other way too, that we're going to go lower from here. But what I think is we still possibly have a little bit higher to go to fill at least this gap and possibly this other. I think there's a little gap at least in QQQ from this point. But I do think since we're holding all of these areas, everything that we held before, and we're just making a higher low, I think that we might hold this. If we gap below from CPI, if we gap below this line or any of these areas here, especially this 443, then we're bearish. We're completely bearish, with one caveat, and that's that we hold the triangle bottom and that we fill out the triangle more into FOMC next Wednesday. Okay, I know there's a lot of what ifs going on here, but that's what trading is all about. And when you get into these equilibriums, these triangles, equilibriums, price goes all over the place. So you have to be very careful. You have to take profit when you can. We had a very good day today on so many individual names, especially Bitcoin with a huge bounce. So I hope you took profit. We mentioned all this yesterday. We're gonna show, so that's the one thing I want to show on there. There's nothing else on here. Let's go over to QQQ. With QQQ, it's very similar to the same story that we're talking about. We have the EMAs here. We have the 8 EMA that we're underneath, but we're holding the 20. We're over the 50. We're over support from this consolidation area. I could put a box there, the turquoise box. This is the same area. We're above all of that. This downtrend, more like a falling pivot. We're holding that area in confluence of all the other things that are happening here. So again, we have an opportunity to bounce higher. I think this is making a higher low. Do we break this high here? I'm not sure that we do that, but I think we just go a little bit higher, maybe for a double top here. It just depends on, I'm going to show you Apple and I'm going to show you NVIDIA. So stick around and we'll go over those charts. And I think those are set up for the upside. We could continue falling, but I think those are set up for the upside. And I think that's going to drag the market at least a little bit higher before our reversal. And if we get our, two things, I'm very bearish. If we get a gap down, and especially underneath the 370, I showed you the one on SPY, but on the 370 here, we gap down underneath there, I have to switch bearish immediately. Okay, again, we have this slight caveat, and that's that this would be more of a triangle filling out from this pivot right here. Okay, so we'll watch that, but yeah, we're waiting for the opportunity to be very bearish. But in the meantime, there's some setups to the upside, and we took a lot of those setups and used them. JPM, we're with JP Morgan, with Goldman Sachs. Excellent day today. So with QQQ, let's go over to Apple, and then we'll go to NVIDIA. We'll check out the VIX, and then we'll end off with the 65-minute on SPY. So there's a little bit more of this video to go through. Let's go ahead and go to Apple. With Apple, look at these prior highs. I know that there's higher highs. There's different levels from this channel. But look at this previous high. This previous high acts as good support. Also resistance here, and we're using it as support right now. So it's a very, very special area. I need to pull this one out a little bit further. And I think that's going to act as resistance if we get our bounce. But we had our fall here, a 5-wave impulse move. I think this is an impulsive move. Then we had a retracement, which is very valid. We have a 3-wave move. It could be over from here. But even if this move is over, I'm not sure that if this is another impulsive move down here, that this is another wave, and we got a really small wave 2 here. So that's what I'm kind of doubting at this point. We're holding support as of this moment, but to me, it looks like we're set up to this impulsive move, and we have a 3-wave retracement. Didn't totally fill the gap, and we have 2 options for the scenarios I'm looking for right now. That this was just a corrective move to the downside, meaning this is an A, now a B, and now we're getting a 5-wave move, possibly a impulsive move or a ending diagonal. But what you should see in this next move is either just a slight new high to close this gap and get a slight new high over here and continue to the downside. This could be a flat, however you want to name it. The other option is just a little more bearish, where you got our impulse move down, you got a completed retracement, and we're getting a secondary, a lower degree impulsive move, and now we need a small pullback here into that resistance that I just moved over, into these exponential moving averages, right into this 183 zone. So we're playing up to this point, and then we'll see what price action does. Price action gets over this support, then we're going to use that. We're going to say, hey, what kind of structure does it look like we have? We're over support. We're probably going to get a 5-wave structure impulsively to the upside, and downward we go from there. So it's just, what kind of correction are we having right now? And we have a higher low. We have a higher low here. We have a higher low here. And we'll see. Again, this is like a equilibrium as well, just like the market. All right, we had the Apple event today, and it proved to be a little bit bearish, but just like the other Apple events that happen, it's just a catalyst. Price action happens one day, but it can reverse on you the next day and actually make its real move. So let's go over to NVIDIA, or NVIDIA, however you want to pronounce it. Same thing. Same thing with the exponential moving averages. We're on the 50, we're testing it. And this candle formation is actually more in our favor, in my opinion, because we had this nice move down. We had 4 red days in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're getting an inverted hammer right into the 50 exponential day moving average. And so that's a really good clue. And that's also the bottom of the flag that we have here. If you want to see a lot more on this analysis, look at yesterday's video, and we have NVIDIA and what kind of setup we have here. I think the setup is, this candle was kind of like, did we get a reversal candle or not? It wasn't like a real big doji or anything. It wasn't real convincing. And I can kind of see why now. And we have this inverted hammer that possibly, or graveyard doji, whatever you want to call it, into the 50 exponential moving average. And that would make a wonderful reversal candle if we're at all bullish going into tomorrow. The SPY, let's go back to that. And we'll go down to the 65. We'll check out the Elliott wave pattern. Oh, VIX. I'm not going to go to VIX on the 65. I just want to go ahead and do all that now so we can get rid of... so we can go ahead and go through this chart real quick. So you see that channel that we have here? We're having troubles with the channel. Also this this resistance zone here we rejected off of. Well, we still have this gap area right here, and so we made a lower high here. I do think we're right into the 8 EMA going into tomorrow. That's a trending indicator to the downside. So unless we gap over it, you know, this should reverse off that 8 EMA, close the gap. We have support. We have that rising trend line that I think that we can get support from the gap bottom, the rising trend line. And I think that's a great opportunity to go short on the market and long on VIX. If we get underneath this trend line, then I think the market's going to go make a new high, not an all-time high, but just the near-term high. And then we can look for other spots to go short on the market as well. So that's important. I just don't think we're going to leave this gap, because we're gonna close it eventually. But I think we're going to close it before we get much higher. It's just a guess. It's just a guess. It's an educated guess off our charts. Okay, let's go back to SPY. And then we'll go down to the 65-minute. And then let's go ahead and change the board. Trend is our friend. Okay, so this is the important thing that we're talking about here. The scenarios that we were talking about, notice I took out that trend line from yesterday. We actually broke the trend line, so it's a little more bearish than what I was considering. So that's one of the scenarios that we could talk about, saying this is bearish. We broke that micro term trend line and we're headed down. But you know, when the market gives you something to work with, it gives you information every single day, you have to take it for what it's worth. And so now this kind of opens up the same scenarios that we had before, except I don't think we're going straight up from here. Obviously, we broke the trend line. We have an ABC correction to where this all could be ended now. This could be an impulsive wave. But to me, we had a 3-wave move up. So that's another ABC, and we could just move down, straight down from here. But now it kind of looks like we have just a B correction. So your initial A, 3-wave move up, a B correction, and then a 5-wave move up, either into resistance here or higher. So in other words, I think all of the scenarios are still available. I was just hoping it'd be a little bit easier for us if we held that trend line. So what do we have here? We still have the A, B, and then we're holding this 200 exponential moving average, and then the C into 618 or 786 area, and just complete there. Or this is an A, B, and we need a 5-wave impulsive move to the upside to fill that gap, or come to the gap and, you know, the double top right here and break the triangle. But then we have to open up other scenarios if this downtrend line is taken out, because now you have to think of more bullish scenarios where we back test and we continue higher. All right, which that would support my I don't want to confuse you guys, but the more bullish scenario that this is an ending diagonal where this is wave 1 and this is wave 2. We have 3 more waves up, 3 waves down for 4, and make a new high with 3 waves up. Always got to keep all these scenarios in mind when you're trading. Okay, so on QQQ, I wasn't going to go over there on the 65, but I think it's a little bit more clear with, let's go ahead and go to the Elliott wave, directly to the Elliott wave. We still have, I know you see a lot of stuff going on here. Let me get rid of that, clean this up a little bit. 5-wave move down, possibly. This could be a 3-wave move down. But we do have a 5-wave structure to the upside here. So that's a big clue that this is an A, very similar to this. This 5-wave move up here, much bigger. And then we have our B, where this one we have our B, and then we have our impulsive wave C, and that's going to make this a WXY, which would be a double zigzag. This is a zigzag here. Okay, we have a 5, 3, 5. Now we have a clear 5-wave structure pulling back for a B into the 618, also to these moving averages. And now if we get a bullish move with the CPI, we can look for a 5-wave move all the way up top and to complete the move up here. And I'll have some of those retracements and things. I'm not going to draw all that right now, but make a new high. That's the whole point. Where this is a WXY, where that's a double zigzag. I don't believe that SPY is counted the same way, but this one seems to set us up a little bit more clear, because I was looking at this and saying, man, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move, or this was like our A, B, and a really small 5-wave move up to complete. So it can be completed, but it just didn't make sense to where this could be very bearish. And, when you get 5 waves, you have to really consider what's going on. So if this is a 5-wave, then we're pulling back for a B, and we have a C that can either end short underneath this triangle or make a new high, depending on how strong, for example, Apple is. And I said, in NVIDIA, you only need the 2. I said I wasn't going to go on the 65 and on the Apple, but I want to show you anyway. And, if this information helps you out, please like the video. So we're not only on the options expected move, made this nice move down here. It does appear, in yesterday's video, I told you this looks like a 5-wave move. A 1, 2, 3, 4, and we eked out a small high there. So this really says to me, my gosh, this is a 5-wave move. And you see the consolidation here. We only have 3 waves that we can count in this. So that would be corrective. And now we're looking for a 1, 2. This is a deep retracement. Perhaps a 3, 4, 5 to make a slight new high and to hit the trend line and maybe fill the gap. So that would be a very bullish move tomorrow to CPI. CPI should say it all. It should say what's happening, because this move would be complete, being the AB or the 1, 2. And if this is an impulsive move to the downside, we have our 1, 2, 1, 2. You see where we would head into. And that would be the 50, 60% retracement of this move. All right, so that's what I want to show you. Sorry to go into so much detail. Didn't want to drag this on, but I just wanted to be clear that we still have a possibility of moving up. Look at the end move here yesterday. Yeah, we could gap down from CPI, but this is a higher low, and we can complete a 3-wave move up here. And this could end up being very, very bearish afterwards. I do think we're topping. I do think that we're going lower, but I just, I don't want to fight this. I think that we're moving a little bit higher. I'll even give you a bonus here. We have, look at this. All the indicators are pointing. Now we're trying to get a bearish cross here. We're kind of going sideways, but we had our bull cross, and we're basically neutral. You see a slight red not divergence, but a slight red histogram there. We got oversold there. We're oversold again with this move that we have. We're getting a buy signal here. Potentially we're oversold. We're potentially getting a buy signal here into CPI. It just does not look bearish to me at this point. I think we have to correct higher right into the trend line of this red box. right in this trend line, or break through there and make a slight new high, close the gap, and head lower from there. I think those are the two more likely scenarios. And either one, we're going to be out of most of our trades earlier than making a decision point up there. We'll let some runners happen. And then we'll start to put on much later date, 30 days out or so on the downside for a short plays. We'll start scaling into those. All right, I think that's it. That's what we got for you. Put in any comments if you want to see anything else, or if there's something I'm missing that you'd prefer to see. But I really appreciate you all being here. Go ahead and like the video, and if you want to help out in different ways, go down to the description, and there's a couple different ways you can. Otherwise, just join us in the free Discord. Have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.